What are we dancing on when we're dancing Brazilian Zouk? Are we dancing to the lyrics, to the beat? Are we dancing to the count? What are we dancing on?
So when they were dancing to a song that affected them, they were not just dancing to melody, they were also dancing to vibe, they're also dancing to intention.
But then, does it have a personality? Does it have an identity, musically speaking?
In Brazilian Zouk these days, when I go to the social, when the song comes and it hits me, that's a plus. Like, wow. Because in many instances, we are dancing to what comes.
When I'm in Autopilot, we're dancing to the sound of the machine. Yeah, so that's when we're stuck in the rhythm.
The more you learn the dance, the more you learn the structures, allows you to express yourself more abundantly in this realm of the feeling.
We look at dancers who are hitting all of those numbers as good musical dancers, instead of somebody who is actually feeling and understanding the layers of the music.
So what is motivating the execution? What motivates you to do the movement that you were doing? What makes you open the dance? What makes you close the dance?
Not just the movement, but how you do that movement. Look, this is the reality and the honest truth to you guys. In Brazilian Zouk, we can focus too much on the dancing together in terms of leading and following, and really not enough on the dance in your body. Most Brazilian Zouk dancers don't dance enough on their own. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode. My name is Alisson Sanji, and let's welcome back our beautiful co-host, Gui Prada. Hello, Gui.
Hello, Alisson. Hello, everybody. Welcome back.
Well, if you just came from last week's episode, as we were in that episode talking about where are the Brazilians, we mentioned something about the music and how we dance to the music. So in this episode, we want to deep dive into that because there's so much to talk about. What are we dancing on when we're dancing Brazilian Zouk? Are we dancing to the lyrics, to the beat, to just the rhythm, the tom chick chick, tom tack chick? Are we dancing to the count? What are we dancing on? Because I think that's a huge thing in the community, that some dancers get to a level after dancing 5+ years where they dance to all the layers. But why don't we dance to more layers other than just the simple rhythm from the very beginning? That's a big one.
A big one. And I wanted to do a quick recap of the aspect of music that we talked about in the previous episodes, where our point was there was an identification aspect of the music people were dancing to and how they felt dancing to those songs. So when they were dancing to a song that affected them in any way, they were not just dancing to rhythm. They were not just dancing to melody. They were also dancing to vibe. They're also dancing to intention. So it is very common to see how the face changes when the song hits the person. Big smile comes out, or the classic frown. When the song comes and there is this, like, the closest, the face frowns because you are feeling it.
You feel the pain.
Feel the pain or you feel the joy, you know. There is something really interesting that we used to joke, and that when Brenda and I were traveling and teaching, there is something we used to joke about, which is when a song plays at home. I would see that a lot with my mother. When a song played that she really liked, she would frown her face and lift her arms and show her armpits. They're like, oh my God, I love this song. So there was almost an impulse reaction when the song hit her. So she would be dancing to the pulse of the song, moving to the pulse of the song, but her whole body was moving to something beyond the pulse of the song. And then came the idea, man, let's talk about this. Let's talk about music.
Yeah.
And in Brazilian Zouk, we as teachers, and I am completely putting myself in that role of someone who really wants people to get the rhythm of the dance.
Timing commanders here.
Man, we really want the timing down. I was just traveling a couple weeks ago to a community where during the warm-up, I saw that everybody had the timing down. Everybody was stepping to the rhythm, and I felt the relief. I was like, we're going to be able to work with so much more stuff because we have the rhythm down. Yeah. And the other side of it, also as teachers, observing when you try to get people out of the rhythm and how hard that is. So a middle ground here, I think we need to find. Yeah, and I think that's the beginning of our conversation, I think.
And another context that brings from previous episodes, not just the last one, is that in Brazilian Zouk, we dance to pretty much any type of music. Any type of music from any era, from any language, not just Brazilian, not just English. But it's nice that, for example, in Vietnam, I love every time I'm in Vietnam, they actually play a lot of Vietnamese music. It's interesting because for me, it's like, something exciting, something new. But when they play the Vietnamese music, I see that the room changes. Yeah. The room changes like as if you're playing forró in a room full of Brazilians, as if you're playing something that connects to the people in that room, like Latinos and salsa, bachata, or something like that. So that's another context as well that we need to bring to, because in Brazilian Zouk, the biggest pros that we have is that we can dance to anything. But then, does it have a personality? Does it have an identity, musically speaking?
Good point.
Does it have something that we can always count on having? Like that relatable feeling of like, I'm going to a Zouk party, I'm going to experience this.
Yes.
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one. That's a good point. Yeah. When I go to a Zouk social these days, a Brazilian Zouk social these days, what brings me to the dance is more the connections I'm going to have with their followers and the sensation of dancing, and not so much the music that I'm going to hear, because I don't know what I'm going to get. For example, when I would go to a Dança de Salão social back in the lawyer days, leaving the firm on Friday to go to the social, the music was a big drawing for me.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to listen to a little bit of samba. I wanted to listen to some bolero. And the combination of that with the movement, with the connection with my partner, made the whole thing incredible. In Brazilian Zouk these days, when I go to the social, when the song comes and it hits me, that's a plus. Like, wow. Because in many instances, we are dancing to what comes. We're dancing to what hits our ears. And what ends up happening is when we think about the four elements of the dance, you, your partner, the song, the music, and the space, sometimes it's the you and the partner and the space, and the song is there. So one thing as a teacher that I notice is I need as a teacher to find the balance of teaching rhythm and teaching everything else, because I was taught in how to be affected by the music. I was taught to listen to how this person is singing, listen to the cadence of the voice, sing along, now these other parts here, now this other part here, move here, and then Jaime would move and we would need to move with him so we could feel the song through the body and everything else. And then over time, you got affected by the music in this very deep way that you frown your face when you hear the song, because it takes over your body, So in the end of the day, we end up having us and everybody else, most people, not dancing to the song in its fullness. They're dancing to one part of the song. They're dancing to the rhythm. And the other parts are not getting to them yet. And that's the thing we want to get to us. I want the music to get to me. And I want to help people to let the music get to them too. So that's the biggest challenge with this process, because we want people to really feel the thing. I want everybody frowning their faces when a song that they like really plays. And again, the frown is not like, I don't like this. It's the frown of, of feeling.
Intensity.
Of intensity, exactly. Then my teacher used to say, you have to make the face as if there was a little rock in your shoe, you know? I like that a lot because you could identify with the feeling and make the face and really let that energy be the thing that moves you with your partner. So you move from a different place. The sensation is completely different.
So now let's talk about what is missing.
Yes.
Okay, what is missing? For me, I find myself a lot of the times automatically just listening to the tum tak chick tum and just going for it, and then finding something with the music after the connection comes.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I'm in autopilot. Unfortunately, I have to confess and be honest here, guys. When I'm in autopilot, we're dancing to the sound of the machine. Yeah, so that's when we're stuck in the rhythm. So what we want to explore is the idea that we can connect to the music first. The music, the whole ensemble,
The fullness of the song.
Instead of just connecting to, oh, this is a good BPM, I can dance to this, right? Because that's what we normally go to. And when we say we here, we're talking about as dancers, not as teachers, right? So let's say a beginner, somebody who is getting used to dancing Brazilian Zouk, all they care about is, can I keep up with this song? They don't care if it's English or another language, if it's a Kizomba, if it's... We get more picky later.
Yes.
Yeah. But at the beginning, it's just like, can I keep up with this song in terms of speed? Do I know this song? If I know this song, that's an extra bonus.
Mm-hmm.
That's a huge plus.
Mm-hmm.
So in the classes, I think what we teach is so much of the footwork, the timing, the frame, the connection. But we need to teach more music connection at the beginning. And I kind of took my time to say this because the word that I wanted to use was musicality. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the problem.
Yeah.
Musicality includes what we're talking about. But a lot of the times when we see a class on musicality, a workshop or a course on musicality, it doesn't include these basic things. It includes like how to be musical like a teacher, or how to be musical to do better in Jack and Jill. It's kind of that level of musicality that you become one with the dance and with the partner.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, that's many levels up. And people who are very committed to the dance, they get to that. But what if we could do that in earlier stages? In your beginner's course, already ask the people to feel the different vibes of different music. Okay, this song, do you feel how it's a little more relaxed? So let's just take smaller steps, guys. Let's dance a little gentle. And I mean, just a lateral, just a simple turn, nothing complicated. So we're not doing isolations and dynamics and stretching. Then talking about how that cadence, I'm not a musician, so I'm just going to use the words I can. The cadence of the music, sometimes it feels a little faster, even though the timing hasn't changed, or it feels a little bit more dramatic and slow. So let's take the time to understand that, to learn that, and to apply that in the music. How many workshops and classes and private lessons, leaders and followers come to us and says, what do I do when the music does this? Especially at the very beginning for leaders. What do I do when the music doesn't have like this strong beat that I should be stepping on?
Mm-hmm.
Or followers understanding like, when do I keep my footwork? When do I stop my footwork? You know, when we start doing some body movement, head movement, should I keep my timing? And I think those questions come from the lack of understanding that we have so many layers in the music that we could be listening to, but we're not aware that we can or should, or it's an option.
Yeah, I think that the aspect of not being able to listen to the layers, for me, is related to the fact that most songs are unfamiliar to us in the sense that they are remixes, They are, like we said many times, we can listen to anything. So in my Spotify, for example, I have a playlist called Let's Zouk Flow or Let's Flow Zouk, something like that. And most of the songs are songs without lyrics. Just like what I call tribal music or jungle music. And I use those songs for training purposes because they have this continuous drum situation going and invites you to keep stepping, but with a different quality because the vibe is the supporting sounds invite something different from you if it was just a song with a strong rhythm, that is a Kizomba music, for example. Or sometimes the Kizomba DJs do these remixes without lyrics, sometimes just saxophone and other instruments, consistent rhythm, but everything else is, there's a weight to it. And then we come into the aspect of subjective. Now, when I say weight to it, what does that mean? That the beat, the pulse feels heavy. So it invites you to step in a different way. This tribal music, the pulse is there, but sometimes it's more airy. It invites you to, but what is airy?
Yeah.
So these are the things that I would like you to explore. What do you find heavy? What do you find airy? What do you find viscous, now with viscosity, that you step in a different way? And this is the stuff, guys, that there's no right or wrong. There's no this or that. There is only subjectiveness. And that's the thing that in Brazilian Zouk, we don't have as much. You know, when you go to a forró social or you listen to forró music and you speak Portuguese and you can understand the language and you hear the poetry of it, you know, and how beautiful they are sometimes, that causes you to feel something. Then you understand the whole vibe because the lyric is saying something really, really poetic, really beautiful. And then in Brazilian Zouk, most of the time, we don't understand what the people are saying. Here in Taiwan, for example, in the Zouk festival, last year, I think, they played a Taiwanese song and some people even cried, you know, singing along to it. And we were not understanding anything. But we are trained dancers in this way that can at least grasp the, you know, the vibe of it, the energy of it. And we see that people who know the song, how they react to it. So there is like a power to it. And then we move with that power. So in the progression of learning about music, and I like that you said that you were holding back using the word musicality, because I think this transcends musicality.
Absolutely. I was actually about to say here, I think musicality in Brazilian Zouk as a broad statement here means that you can hit the structure of the music. That's it. You can hit the ones, you can hit the fives, you can find your way around the numbers. But the numbers is just one layer. How about all of the other layers within the music that we're not using? But we kind of like reward or we look at dancers who are hitting all of those numbers as good musical dancers instead of somebody who is actually feeling and understanding the layers of the music. And they may not be hitting all the obvious things, but they're dancing within the music.
Exactly.
Not on the obvious parts of the music.
Exactly. There was a training that I did last year in DC, and we had one leader there who was experienced Kizomba dancer, but new in Brazilian Zouk. And then everybody was dancing, and I like to see people's faces when they're dancing. And he was the only one that had this face here. And he was like smiling, he had this face. And I thought, he's in another layer. He's in a different layer. You know, he's not in the 1 and the 5, in the melody, in the vocals, in the instrumentals. He's in that other layer. He's feeling something else. And then when we got together after the dance, I brought him into the circle. And I said, I noticed you had this face going on. And we joked about it and smiled about it. And then I asked, what was it that was going on with him? And he said, oh, I know this song. I've listened to it many times. We danced Kizomba to this song. And it makes me feel a certain way. And I go this way. And he was a beginner in Brazilian Zouk. But he had the quality of ears, né? His ears and his feelings, they were connected in a way. So even though he didn't know the dance really well, he could feel the dance. He could feel the soul so much, and that affected the way that he danced. So it was one guy.
Now I have
40 people.
Now I have a contradiction here in my head. Many episodes ago, we talked about how in Brazil, we're more connected to the percussion.
Percussion, yes.
To that low, strong, heavy part of the music. And when we travel to other areas around Asia or Europe, they're more connected to the lyrics, to the vocals.
Yes.
To other instruments, more gentle instruments, not the percussion. So maybe is Brazilian Zouk taught that way because of how Brazilians feel the music when it's not in their language? I'm saying because, again, Brazilian Zouk, most of the music is not in Brazilian Portuguese. So as people who don't learn English in Brazil or very, very little, we dance to a lot of English songs, and then we're just trying to find everything that we can connect to, but the lyrics, because the lyrics is something that we cannot understand. So then we ended up teaching Brazilian Zouk with this sort of musicality as the standard one, instead of being, let's say, from salsa or bachata and being a person that knows and grew up speaking Spanish and they understand that. Like, for example, when we're teaching forró, when we're teaching samba, we are crying, we're smiling, we're moaning in the class because we understand the lyrics and the instruments and every layer of the music.
Yes.
But as Brazilian Zouk teachers and dancers, we often don't understand the lyrics. So we just grab everything else that we can.
Yeah, sometimes we don't have the lyrics.
Yeah, sometimes we don't have the lyrics. And the other thing that I was thinking about here is that why did we have so many remixes? For a long time. For a long time, we didn't even dance to a song that was not remixed in a social. If a song is not remixed, people are like, oh no, the beat is not strong enough, we're not obvious enough. And I think that was kind of like Brazilians trying to Brasilify the feeling of that song.
Yes.
Like Adele, okay? We all love Adele. Well, I love Adele. Maybe you guys like Adele too. And then, boom, on top of Adele, which could be beautiful on its own without it.
Yeah.
But as Brazilians, we're like, no, Adele is not enough. Let's put a lot of beats there and instruments because then we can dance Brazilian Zouk. Nowadays, it's not the case. I think we've moved past that. And we, as a community, we dance to more songs that are not remixed. And we understand the rhythm enough to be able to do that.
Yeah.
But I think that was kind of like, maybe, yeah, the Brazilian Zouk teaches feeling like there was something missing because it wasn't instrumental enough for the Brazilian taste.
Yes, I remember the early remixes that I heard, they would follow the formula of the Ghetto Zouk music. There was the guy, he's brother music. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go, you know? And then the remixes followed that formula. They had that. So we were taking songs, general songs, and remixing them to feel like the Ghetto Zouk, the Cabo Love, the Zouk Love stuff that we were dancing to more. And these were the early remixes that I used to hear. And then I heard a lot of the Neo Zouk remixes too, and they were everything. Just mix a bunch of stuff, you know?
Yes.
The aspect of the rhythm, you know, we put that rhythm. I think it's really important and really precious. The rhythm, dancing the rhythm allows you to be in the structure of the dance faster. And it's one of the first layers of connection.
Yeah.
You know, you connect.
Timing is communication.
Time is communication. 100%. First layers of connection is the rhythm. You stay in the rhythm. And when you synchronize rhythm, you start the process of exchange. Well, good. The thing that I think we are wanting to convey here, the main message here is to start practicing listening beyond the rhythm. When you get the rhythm down, listen beyond the rhythm, go to the melody, go to the instruments, and eventually get to the vibe. And even if we don't get the lyrics, even if we don't get everything that's going on, how that makes us feel and how that feeling makes us move, how that moves us. So really getting from the mechanical, I'm executing stuff, and going really into the artist. Because the art is subjective. Art is human soul, and how that makes you move. I think that's the most important thing for me. When we look at a demo sometimes or a competition dance sometimes, we see that the musicality hits the one. Turn, hit the one. Pa, hit the one, which requires a bunch of skill. A lot of skill. I need to train that myself, actually. I'm going to train that this week. Hitting the one better with more impact. While at the same time, when you watch the dance where they catch something very subtle with the shoulder and people react to it. They do a little thing with the heads to the song and people react to it. So there is space for the really big and really powerful and impactful. And there is also a bunch of space for the stuff that is subtle and small, where people can see that they're listening, that they're engaged with the song. The aspect of it that is interesting to me as well is the examples I just gave are the dances that are for other people to see. Yeah. What we are wanting to try here is the dances that nobody sings, just for each other. And the only person witnessing how you feel the song is your partner in front of you. And that's how I was trained. So when I hear the music for the first time, what goes in for me at first is actually the vibe of the song. And that's the subjective thing, the vibe. What the hell is that? I don't know, you don't know, we don't know. The vibe is how the song makes you feel and makes you want to move. And sometimes you resonate with the vibe very much when it's familiar, and sometimes you don't resonate with the vibe at all. And then when I don't resonate with the vibe very much, I go into the rhythm. I go into the safe structures of the mechanics of the dance. When I resonate with the song, the vibe moves. And then I see myself even executing movements in a completely different way. The things I do with my body, I wish I had filmed, because I did stuff that I cannot replicate anymore because the vibe was moving. And that gets to the last thing I wanted to say for now, which is your skill level. How deep, how far in the journey you are. The more you learn the dance, the more you learn the structures. And combining that with developing your ear and your soul to listen and to feel, the amount of movement the knowledge that you have in the movement allows you to express yourself more abundantly in this realm of the feeling. You can express yourself more. That's really doing more movements-wise. But these movements are moved by something else. So you're not just mechanically execute movements. And that's the thing about only dancing to the rhythm sometimes, is that no matter what is playing, you are executing. So what is motivating the execution? That's the other invitation or reflection. What motivates you to do the movement that you were doing? To do your toalha, to do your viradinha, to do your lateral? What makes you open the dance? What makes you close the dance?
Not just the movement, but how you do that movement.
How you do the movement. So I've been traveling with Paloma this past months, and I can see what moves her. I can really notice when the song resonates with her, and I can see the sounds that get to her body, and I can see how she executes movement to the sound. And I see that it's not the movement that is being executed. I see that she's singing or playing the song with her arms, or with her head, or with her eyes.
Yeah, that brings me to what I want to say here. Look, this is the reality. And the honest truth to you guys, in Brazilian Zouk, we can focus too much on the dancing together in terms of leading and following. And really not enough on the dance in your body. Most Brazilian Zouk dancers don't dance enough on their own.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that already takes you into a category of dancers that can only dance well or can only express themselves if somebody else does it, if somebody else allows you, if somebody else invites you. But what about you train yourself to dance? And whoever you're dancing with, you may share that moment with them, invite them to join that moment with you because you're already in there. Or if that person is not very connected with you, at least you have that dance in your body. It's very important to understand that if you want to train how to dance into layers, into musicality, into all of those things, both leaders and followers need to do a lot of dancing on their own. And that can start from day one. You don't have to wait until you're an advanced dancer to be doing that. Yeah. So I think that's a big, big thing that we need to be doing from the very beginning. Just put some music, do your basic steps. And as you're doing your basic steps, your lateral, do something that the music made you do.
Yes.
And no apologies. Just do, feel it, own it, and go like, oh, I felt that. Ooh, I like that. And keep exploring that in your dance, because that's what you see with dancers and dancers that you look on the dance floor or in demos on social media and you go like, oh my God, that looks so much fun. That looks like they were in the music. I guarantee it's because they have spent a lot of time exploring that in their own body. And even if they were not dancing with somebody, they would still be able to explore that way.
Well, I was going to say that let's not wait for another pandemic to dance by ourselves.
Yes. We did a lot of solo classes in the pandemic. Let's not wait until we get to that point again.
Because that was the moment that I really danced by myself.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't want to wait for another pandemic, to keep doing it. Somebody asked me about that once. They wanted to dance by themselves. They just didn't know how because of the matter of feeling self-conscious about it and the matter of time.
Mm-hmm.
And I told this person what I do, which is I pretend I'm leading a warm-up. I'm pretending I'm leading a warm-up. Mm-hmm. So mirrors right here, imaginary mirror, and I'm in front. Let's say I'm literally facing the wall, and I dance as if I'm leading a warm-up. And that's how I develop drills for the warm-ups. I dance by myself as if I was leading a warm-up, and I go a little crazy. And that crazy is the thing. What does the song tells me? So I play something I like. I dance into stuff that I like, because that motivates me. So I go in my Zouk Traditional Beats playlist, go to the bottom, which is my latest additions, which is the stuff I'm listening to the most, and boom, and then I dance by myself. And then all of the stuff come out, So lead a warm-up, imagine that you're leading a warm-up and see if that motivates you or if that makes you dance by yourself with less of this shyness, that we feel even if there's nobody watching. Yeah, because you feel shy of looking bad or not knowing, even if nobody's watching. Yeah.
Don't worry about it. And if you want, maybe ask a friend to join you. Both of you can tag along, help each other, have fun. If you have a practice partner that you already practice with, tell them and say, hey, can we start with maybe one song of us just dancing by ourselves and feeling our own vibes? I tell you guys, every training session with anybody that I ever do, I start like that. With all my dance partners or anybody that I'm training with, we start solo and then we go together. Because I feel like by the time we actually get together, we are already dancing in our own body. Mm-hmm. When I go to a social, same thing. I am not the kind of dancer that can just drop my bag and go into the dance floor. I need to feel the music. I need to feel my body connected to the music. Then I go like, okay, now I'm ready to dance.
Yeah.
So I invite you to either do that in the classes, in the warm-ups, in the socials, warming yourself up on your own or in your own time, whether alone or with a partner. Introduce some sort of solo training on your own. There are many things that you can do, but we're not trying to limit you to anything here. Just dance, find things that you like with music that you like.
With that, I would say adding to it, you do lateral to R&B, you do lateral to traditional music, you do lateral to whale music, you do lateral to all the songs. Are you doing the same lateral to all of them? Is it the same? See how you can change the quality, change the feeling, change maybe how bent your knees are, how straight they are, how big you step, how much you twist your body. But not because of the mechanics of it, mostly because how it makes sense to you to move to that song doing lateral. You know, that's my challenge. If R&B starts playing and traditional plays after, I really want to showcase that my body is moving differently to these different songs. They invite me to move differently. R&B has a loud clap. The traditional music, the traditional Brazilian Zouk beat, the traditional Zouk beat doesn't have a loud clap. So my control step, the 2, the 4, the 6 is different. How I am expressing that difference. So you going through that stage of observing the difference in your execution, eventually, I believe, will take you to execute differently organically. Yeah, so that's an invitation that I leave to you, something that I do for myself. And it's a really fun experiment and also really challenging.
Yeah.
Not that easy.
Yes, guys, don't stress about it. Every little progress is a huge progress. Okay, so 1% a month is a good progress. Okay, give yourself the time, give yourself the practice, and keep coming back for the ZoukNerds episode so we can keep sharing things that might help you in the future. And if they are helping you, please help us by following, subscribing, sharing with your friends, liking, so we can continue reaching out to more people, growing our beautiful community here. And then we'll see you on the next episode. So thank you. Beijos, abraços, and ciao.
Bye, everyone.